How do you teach a robot right from wrong? It's a question straight out of a sci-fi movie, but it's also something we'll have to grapple with a lot sooner than you might think. Take a self-driving car that has to choose between hitting a child in its way or slamming its own passenger into a barrier. Or imagine a rescue robot that detects two injured people in the rubble of an earthquake, but knows it doesn't have time to save both. It's a moral dilemma, which is why a team of scientists is attempting to build moral robots. If autonomous robots are going to hang with us, we're going to have to teach them how to behave, which means finding a way to make them aware of the values that are most important to us. Humans don't really have any concrete rules about what's right and wrong, at least not ones that we've managed to agree upon. What we have instead are norms, basically thousands of fuzzy, contradictory guidelines. Norms help us predict the way that the people around us will behave, and how they'll want us to behave. The big trick, especially if you're a robot, is that none of these norms are absolute. In one situation, a particular norm or value will feel extremely important, but change the scenario, and you completely alter the rules of the game. So how can we build a robot that can figure out which norms to follow and when? One theory is that the human moral landscape might look a lot like a semantic network, with clusters of closely related concepts that we become more or less aware of depending on the situation. By collecting data from enough different situations, it's possible to build a rough map of a human norm network. In the future, a robot might come equipped with a built-in version of that map. That way, it could call up the correct moral framework for whatever situation's at hand. Communication.
Please lie down.
Okay.
Back in Matthias Scheutz's lab at Tufts, they're working on that exact problem. They've programmed a little autonomous robot to follow some simple instructions. It can sit down, stand up, and walk forward, but they've also given it an important rule to follow. Don't do anything that would cause harm to yourself or others.
Walk forward.
If the researcher gives the robot an instruction that would violate that rule, the robot doesn't have to follow that instruction, and it will tell you why it won't.
Sorry, I cannot do that as there is no support ahead.
Please walk forward.
But it is unsafe.
The researcher can then give the robot new information, and the robot will update its understanding of its little world and decide on a different course of action.
I will catch you.
Okay.
Please walk forward.
Okay.
This communication is essential because moral norms aren't fixed. We argue and reason about morality, and often we learn from each other and update our values as a group. And any moral robot will need to be a part of that process. We're still a long way from building a truly moral robot, but these studies could be the very first steps.